to everyone watching this video. Um, I did say in the previous video that I'm going to be sharing my story in Christianity and my deconstruction, and I'm just going to get right to it. Um, before I say anything, I just want to say bear with me. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise where I am. This room is not soundproof, so there's going to be a lot of noise. So bear with me on that. But yeah, um, I'm gonna have this story is gonna be in parts, like part one, part two, part three type thing. It's gonna have a lot of parts because I don't wanna have like really long videos. Um, Maybe 30 minutes at most, or so, maybe 20-30 minutes at most. But if I don't want them to be in very many parts, I can just make like 1 hour, another 2 hours, and stuff like that. But since I'm just starting off, I don't want to do that. I want to have short videos. So yeah, so it's gonna be in parts. So watch out for the different parts. And but this is gonna be like part zero, right? This is not gonna be. It's not a perfect start, like. Yeah, I'm not gonna begin the story right here. I just wanna uh, like a preface to the whole thing. So one thing I've noticed, and if you watch deconstruction content or that kind of stuff, one thing you would notice is that most of these people are talking about very similar themes, right? We talk about things that caused them to leave, right? Like the things that made them leave, and it's usually like stuff like trauma, like religious trauma, abuse, right? Or noticing or realizing the contradiction in scripture, right? Or just like how the scripture contradicts the message. Like God is supposedly like this, but then his actions in scriptures like that, right? And then stuff like just like unanswered prayers, like there was this one moment when it was do or die, like God, you gotta come true now, but he didn't come true. And it's like, is this guy even real, right? So it's always this negative thing, right? There's always a negative experience that they come across, and it leads to deconstruction or leaving Christianity. Of course, I'm not gonna go into that, but when people deconstruct, when they leave Christianity, I'm talking specifically Christianity because I deconstructed Christianity, although there are people deconstructing like Islam and other religions, right? But when people deconstruct Christianity, they don't go into the same thing. They go into different parts. Some become atheists, Some become what do you call it? Agnostic. Agnostic. Never mind that. Um, yeah, some become agnostic. Others become witches. Others, people go into different parts, right? Different parts, and yeah, like I said, I'm not gonna get into that, but that's what happens. But in my case, it wasn't because I had a negative experience. In my case, it wasn't because I read through scripture and I found that, oh, God is a mother, God is a killer, God is a maniac, a genocidal maniac who was killing people left and right, and it was just unfair and not just, and you know, God was just not like that. There's no this good, all loving God, right? That wasn't it for me. And sure, there was a lot of trauma that came with it, but it wasn't the trauma that got me out. And Maybe it was a little bit off that, but it wasn't the main trigger. And oh, there was also a lot of negative experiences too, like in church and stuff like that. But in my case, none of that was what got me out. Like I've had people who, you know, wanted kids and they're like praying to God. They were not having kids and they're like, come on now. Children come from God, right? Like, so what's going on, right? And that triggered their deconstruction or stuff like that. Maybe you're praying for your loved one and come true, like you believe God is a healer, and it didn't come true. And you're just wondering like, where is this love? Where is this power? And he has infinite power, by the way. What is he doing with all that? So stuff like that. Like very traumatizing experiences that led to deconstruction. But in my case, it was because I went so deep. That was what got me out. I Now it's important to when people talk about Christianity, people normally just say I deconstructed Christianity, but what version of Christianity are we talking about, right? That's very important because there are many different versions. There's like many different denominations, right? Protestants, evangelicals, right? Like Catholic, Jehovah Witness, Mormons, Pentecostals, whatever. There are many different versions of Christianity, right? There are those who are non-denomination, and that's the group I was in. We don't really belong to any denomination, and I always say this, and I know it sounds funny, but I normally tell people that I was practicing what I call cutting edge, cutting edge Christianity. And in the type of Christianity I was practicing, we didn't belong to any denomination. We were not choosing groups, right? Um, we were new wine. You get. This is the new thing that God was doing on earth. Yes, we were aligned with the Father, with the heart of the Father for the world today. Um, this new stuff, exciting. This is an evolved version of Christianity that was very deep into like kingdom stuff, like intimacy, like the supernatural, stuff like that. Not the traditional radical Christianity version. It was intimacy, love, the supernatural, heaven on earth type thing. So it was heavily focused on having a personal, intimate relationship with the divine, with Jesus, right? It was very personal and practical. So that's the type of Christianity I practiced. And so I went so deep down that path. Just to give you a glimpse of what it was like. As a Christian, I believe that I was God. I believe that I am one with God. I believe that me and Jesus were equals. That's the kind of Christianity that I was into. So very new agey, you get like a new age type of Christianity. And I got so deep into it that that's how I deconstructed because the deeper I got into it, the more the layers just keep, you know, piling off or yeah, just keeps going off, you know. The more the veil just keep rolling back, right? The more I keep seeing things and just realizing things and like, okay, so this is not what it is. And this is not what it is, you know? And I went even deeper. And when I got deep enough and I finally met God, I realized that God was not some man in the sky. It was me. That's how I got out. That's how I deconstructed. That's how I deconstructed. So, like I said, this is just like a preface to the story. I'm not gonna go, now in the other parts, I'm gonna go into details down the journey, each and every phase, there are different phases, and how I evolved. So this is I'm gonna call it part zero. So yeah, I'm gonna stop here. Like I said, I want short parts. I don't know if this one is 10 minutes yet, but yeah. Like always, thanks for following. Share the videos if you know people who are interested. Excuse me, in this kind of stuff and who might want to check them out. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.